I'm Officer Martaggio from the Bridgeport Police Department's Auto Theft Unit. Due to the recent uptick in motor vehicle thefts, we're doing this public safety message to benefit you and the citizens of Bridgeport. We're asking for a couple quick tips you can do to be safe and avoid having your car stolen. First thing is never leave your car keys or your key fob in your vehicle. Never leave your vehicle unattended while running, whether in your driveway or in a store or a bodega. And never leave a child unattended in a vehicle. With your help, you can help us and combat this crime. If you have any tips for any auto-related crime or any crime in the city of Bridgeport, please call our tip line at 203-576-TIPS-TIPS.
So thanks. I think you just saw the video with Bridgeport police officer talking about auto thefts. One of the topics that comes up sometimes is, with all city business, of course, what's going on with public safety. Reiterate that, and I actually did a video too, which says the same thing. It's one of those things, if we get the word out, I think we can have an impact on. Don't leave your fob in the car. Don't leave your windows open. God forbid, don't leave a child in the car. There seems to be more activity in this field, and I think we can stop it by just these simple things. These are not people generally, and I stand corrected, I get the impression these are easy kind of joyrides as opposed to somebody strategically trying to steal a car and chop shop it and market it and breaking windows even or doing that. So we can all help. So welcome. Share on Facebook. Click share now. Stay safe and stay home. So I think this is, I'm very pleased and happy to have on another topic an individual who, with the Center for Family Justice, has really been out there trying to make a difference in people's lives in the areas of domestic violence and related things that are just sexual abuse, and the type of things that are very difficult in people's lives. And so in the context of where we are today and every day, Deb Greenwood and Center for Family Justice has been there, and she's going to talk about what they're doing. But just like with auto thefts, because of the change in circumstances, I think we can at least say that we've not seen a decrease in the number of domestic violence cases in the area. So Deb Greenwood, welcome. Thank you for being there all the time, but especially for being there today. There's hundreds, maybe thousands, I'm sure, of people listening in, some who may be afraid to call in, may not want to, may not know that how to seek help, support, and relief. And you've done, and the center's done such a fantastic job. So welcome, and please introduce yourself and talk to thousands of people about this challenge of domestic violence and beyond.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for all you're doing and everyone in the city of Bridgeport. Thanks to everyone that's listening. I have the honor and privilege to be the president and CEO of the Center for Family Justice. We're located right on the corner of Park Avenue and Fairfield Avenue, in between St. John's and the Islamic Center. You enter our building, usually if you're coming via car off State Street, or people can walk in at any time or call. Unfortunately, right now, our agency, the building at 753 Fairfield Avenue is closed because of the virus. However, we are not closed to business. We made a perfectly smooth transition, and we have our hotlines open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, working with families, individuals that are being affected by domestic violence, sexual violence, as well as the kids in our city
Sure.
and town and our region.
So I saw a slide, I don't know if they can put it back up, that showed, and I didn't know the numbers, so I made my statement saying that there's certainly been no decrease, but this slide shows in March and for the first 2 weeks of April, there's been a 54% increase in calls to Safe Connect, the hotline system for domestic and sexual violence victims. So you're seeing, I mean, the fact that we're all experiencing this pandemic and your offices have to physically be closed, you're seeing even more activity and a call for more help and support. Is that right? And how, if you could share with how you're dealing with that and what people can do and what they can expect if they have a need, where to call and how.
Absolutely. So anyone that had been working with our counselors, which we call advocates, we have your information, we're following up. But what's been happening, Mayor, is as people are being isolated in their homes, some of them are also still living with the abuser. Yeah. So it might be more difficult and more challenging. And that's what we found, for them to be able to be talking and reaching out not only to our hotlines, but our staff. Now that we have gotten into the month plus, we're starting to see individuals figuring out ways to contact us, to be able to reach out to that Safe Connect hotline, which can be at any hour of the day. They are always open.
So that person who may be quarantined, if they're following the rules, with the abuser, or someone that may even be, and then they want to, they may be in a vulnerable position, they should still get on their cell phone somehow and contact, what is it they should do? And exactly. What could they expect for help and support?
One of the things we're trying to recommend to people is, if they themselves are fearful, to either reach out on their own phone, ask a neighbor. I know we're trying to keep that social distance, but if there's an opportunity for them to reach out to someone, to call on their behalf, to kind of be creative in ways to use this hotline number. And we would certainly follow up and have someone figure out a way to keep them not only safe, but give them access to safety planning, talking to someone at our agency. Again, that's what we're starting to see. People are reaching out, being creative, calling. That 54% increase in our state in just domestic violence is happening across our country. I do believe, and we do know, as we're watching the numbers, as it trickles down to family violence, how is it affecting the children living in these households?
Sure. And people need to know that you work very closely with, I know, with our police department and other law enforcement. And so if yes. Domestic violence is a crime, sexual violence is a crime, and these are not, this is not just a way for people to communicate with someone for moral support, although that's a part of it and all the options, but there's law enforcement that's involved. If someone abuses, hits, does anything that's unlawful, we are there, and the center certainly will make sure that that communication is done. And of course with children, I mean, that's even more difficult, more tender, and there's agencies that you work with as well. I think it's good for people to know that too.
Exactly. I do believe, one of the strongest partners, we work with so many of our area nonprofits that have specific expertise. One of the biggest partners and most important is law enforcement. So we really lean on the police departments. If someone that's listening or knows of someone that's in a situation, please, if you don't have the hotline number right in front of you, please call 911. Our police departments work side by side with all of us that are doing this work. They know how to call our hotlines. Every officer in the city of Bridgeport has been trained in lethality assessment. So patrol, the call centers know to call our hotlines. If it's affecting domestic violence, they will be there immediately. So thank God for law enforcement. We know it's the most dangerous calls they can go on. Sure. And especially during these times, when I say especially during these times, it's always dangerous, but we're talking about children that sure. might be living in these households as well. Sure.
I'm going to, because with WICC broadcast live and the Radio Cumbre 1450 broadcast live, domestic violence number is 203-384-9559. That's 384-9559. And I guess there's a second number for sexual violence, 203-333-2233. And Spanish hotline is 888-568-8332. That's 888-568-8332, so the people can know that. Any takeaway points that you think? Obviously, they can call those numbers, reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out. We know how these things can get out of hand, and how an abusive situation can go unresponded to, and then it gets worse. Please, I think we just want to maybe just let them know we're there, you're there, and thank you for being there for us, and not be afraid to call.
Exactly. Thank you, Mayor. And again, if you yourself are not a victim, but you know someone in your family, friend, neighbor, adult, child, elder abuse, whatever the situation might be, please don't be afraid yourself to reach out. Everything that we do at the center is free, most importantly, confidential.
Thank you so much, Deb. And thanks for what you're doing, being a comfort, but also a resource where few else are able to and do such a phenomenal job. I thank you and all at the center. Again, their center, the Center for Family Justice, is located in Bridgeport. They service certainly beyond the needs of not just the region, I think statewide. And so people need to know if you can hear this message or if you need help, the Center for Family Justice is there for you. And domestic violence, sexual abuse, and those type of domestic issues. Thanks so much again for joining us, and talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. So, trying to, as we can, with Deb and police officers, two things that we know that we think we can have an impact on. We think by communications and acting smarter with our cars, we can reduce auto thefts. It's not just Bridgeport. Every city and town's having this now. We can get into the reasons, but they are related to free time, younger people predominantly from what I'm hearing, and this type of activity. So do your part, save yourself, save your car, save yourself the inconvenience and all the challenges that could go with that, as well as the safety matters. And on domestic violence or sexual abuse, don't think you're alone. These are areas that are just directly impacted as a result of the new situation, hopefully temporary, but new situation through coronavirus, not just in Bridgeport and not even just in Connecticut. This is everywhere, but we're addressing our challenges here together. The other ones that we've had ups and downs and shootings, and we heard a lot about the off-road vehicles being on-road, ATVs, and we are cracking down on that as well. That's not a byproduct of this, although it's not slowed down with the pandemic. So these are the things kind of different from just where we at health-wise, where are our numbers, when we're going to get through this, and when we're going to reopen, which we'll touch upon all of those right now. But just to reiterate some things from yesterday, the Connecticut Office of Early Childhood has launched a child care program for frontline workers. We got to help out our frontline workers. One way to do it, not just with thanks and appreciation, which is critically important, and recognizing them as our heroes. That's healthcare first responders, healthcare workers, grocery workers, workers at state facilities, home group, home care workers, and people who provide in-person services. All are going to have assistance in child care if they need it. Program is to help frontline workers struggling with child care during this pandemic, provides payment subsidies directly to child care providers, so they'll pay for, in whole or part, but your child care. And you can call, if you're one of those, 800-505-1000, 800-505-1000. Thank you very much for that. As well, just to reiterate, the PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, we used to call PPP, we still do public-private partnerships. That's where we team up with a private business to do something in the area of development or economic development. Now it's Paycheck Protection Program. Application started this past Monday. If you've applied before, make sure your application is in line. There's a lot of small businesses, too many small businesses that were not accepted and did not receive something. Make sure you're in line there. We are going to look to support with additional funding on a local level for businesses in Bridgeport, some type of business assistance program with loan grant forgiveness. It is not fully announced yet. Stay tuned on that. That does not mean you shouldn't go for the bigger, I think at this point, Paycheck Protection Program from the federal government. If you get that, you likely, ours is kind of an addition to that if you miss out, but go for that now. Go for that first. See if you can get that. If you were not approved the first time in round one, you should contact your lender and discuss your application. Maybe there's something you need to tweak on it. Maybe you didn't have all the information. Maybe it just didn't make it to the pay pile. So let's find out. Okay, so we also have, again, unemployment benefits has been this is no disrespect or shot at the state or labor, but it's been a disaster. People can't get phone calls back. They are just overwhelmed. That's not comforting. But I'm not going to lie to you and just, oh yeah, they're going to get to you tomorrow. We tried calling ourselves a number of times on behalf of constituents. I took calls on WICC this morning about this. This is a common problem right now. And I'm going to go to one level beyond in order to try and pierce through with better information to provide to you maybe tomorrow from the state as to the availability of return phone calls, of additional information online, and the filing for unemployment benefits. Anyways, you file at ctui.com. That's file, F-I-L-E, ctui.com. bridgeport.com. We'll stick with you on trying to help you get through this process by trying to pierce through and get some more information. It is not a city program, so I can't tell you how we can fix it, but I can tell you how we can get you information and let you know where it stands. The federal pandemic employment compensation, this is the extra $600 per week. That money will be granted from, I guess it was a couple days ago, April 24th until July 31st. So you haven't missed it if you haven't gotten it yet. If you're on unemployment aid, this is an extra $600 benefit in this check. It's your check. Hopefully you can get it. This started coming out this week. So where are we at with the coronavirus numbers? So we always start with this one, which talks about the hospitals and how many tests they've done, because it's one of the few metrics we have on this thing that gives us at least a day-to-day update. Go back to it. I just want to read the number. So our hospitals have done 5,684 tests. That was another 200 tests done yesterday. But as you'll find out later in this half hour, that there is increased testing now happening in the city of Bridgeport. The more tests we can get done, the better we're going to be to know where we are with this. The better we are to know where we are with this, the quicker we're going to be able to make sound, rational, smart decisions on reopening. So what we can see, the other important metric is where are our hospitals in all this? How are they doing? Our two major facilities with almost 1,000 beds, serving not just Bridgeport, but the region, are holding their own. Ventilator availability is at about 64%. That means their use, number or percentages in use is 36%. That's pretty good. Same thing at Bridgeport Hospital, about the same number. And their bed capacity hovers around the 50 to 60% used. So that's pretty good, considering where we think we are with some reasonable degree of accuracy in the timeline of this pandemic. So let's review the numbers, so why we say that. We're looking at the numbers, they continue to go up, no question. Fairfield County continues to carry the lion's share, no new news there. 10,874 confirmed cases in Fairfield County, 620 hospitalized, and 747 deaths. So as I understand the hospitalized numbers, those are people that are in the hospitals now. Doesn't mean it was the same number. It doesn't accumulate from the first day people went in with coronavirus. It's the actual hospitalizations now. That means some have come in, some have been discharged, but it gives us the kind of snapshot of what we see today. And that seems consistent with our numbers from our hospitals as well. Again, the two next largest in confirmed COVID coronavirus, try to put two words together, are New Haven and Hartford County, 7,000 in New Haven and a little over 5,000 in Hartford County. Statewide, 26,312 confirmed cases, 1,732 confirmed hospitalized now from COVID, and there have been over 2,000 people that have died as a result of COVID or COVID-related illnesses in the state of Connecticut. So our number, we usually show you this slide, is up by 36 from yesterday. That's 1,878 people with active coronavirus cases known by testing. 90 people as a result have died. So where does the 36 fit in? It fits in below what we've seen for the last number of days, dramatically lower. In other words, less than half. We're looking at 80 a day and 69 a day and 70 a day for Bridgeport. We're looking at 36. Stanford's got an increase of 22. New Haven's got an increase of 25. And Norwalk's got an increase of 22. We also have Stratford up on the board, an increase of 21. So we've got 1,878. Yesterday we had 1,842. We're trying to use apples to apples on these numbers. We get numbers that come out in the morning and we get numbers that come out at the end of the day. We stick with the numbers that come out at the end of the day for consistency. So if you hear different numbers, they may be slightly different, but these are giving us apples to apples, if you will, as we go through the next couple charts. So this is the last 14, now 15 days, and you see the trajectory or the angle still going up, but it looks like it's starting to peak, which is the words we like to use. Apex is another one of these new famous words that nobody ever used before, unless there was some company named Apex, I remember. Anyways, they look like they're getting better, but they're not going down. They're not going down yet by this chart or by the longer period chart, which we show after this now. which shows how it was flat, started going up, went up dramatically. That was kind of the bad, bad, bad areas. Then it continued, and now it's bad, bad, but not so bad, 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 not so bad. And so, again, these are cases, but they're people. When you talk about 90 people that have died, those are people, those are families that have died. And so we're sensitive to that, of course. And these are cases, these are people impacted that have had their lives altered by a lot of things, but one is a diagnosis of an unknown virus. Certainly with some data as to what it may or how it may impact them, but a lot of uncertainty. Next one. So this is kind of new stuff. Testing for City of Bridgeport first responders. Physicians 1, urgent care, and City of Bridgeport conducting testing for Bridgeport first responders. That's on Saturday, the next 2 Saturdays, which is May 2nd and May 6th. And they're going to be able to make appointments from 9 a.m. to 5. That'll be at Central High School. That's good information for everyone, but it's important information for those first responders so that they take advantage of this and get tested. Testing for city first responders to receive it during this, and we want to thank you for your service. And if they need more information, they can contact my office. There's a really long .com on there that I'm not going to try and bother to read, but you can check with the department that you serve to register before 8 p.m. on Monday, May 4th. So in addition to this, we see expansion of testing beyond the 2 facilities that we have in the city of Bridgeport. There's rapid testing, which is the 15-minute test, which is the one, I think the same one that I got a couple weeks ago. Probably need to get continued testing because one shot only gives you a snapshot of your status at that time. It's only good for a minute after that, theoretically. But it gives you a level of, okay, I made it this far without it. Whatever my practice is, whatever I'm doing, probably has some level of comfort. If you're staying home, if you're wiping down, if you're wearing gloves and wearing a mask, and you're only getting close to a certain number of people, it probably tells you that's probably somewhat of a safe zone. This is me talking. Nobody else described it just like that. But I think that's probably fair to say based on some logic. But it's open to the public now. This testing, this rapid testing is open to the public, free of cost, no appointment needed. It's Wednesday, it's today. It started this morning at 8:30, and it goes to 2:30. You must have some type of symptoms or have been exposed to a positive case. So you want to have some foundation for not just saying, oh, I want to get tested because I think it's, something I want to do. And they lay out that as being symptomatic or being exposed. They have the 15-minute results, but those are limited, and they've ran out of them for today, but you can go get tested today. You won't get your results in 15 minutes, but they will be hosting the 15-minute again starting next Wednesday, and this will continue to go on at Southwest. Southwest is at 40 Albion Street. So 40 and Albion Street is off of Fairfield Avenue. You head towards Black Rock and the West End. It's a beautiful building. They do great things there for the community. They provide primary health care in general, and they provide this specifically for this, and you can see a picture of how it's set up. It's in the parking lot. They have a Department of Health, I think it's a State Department of Health van there, and tents, white tents, and you see this picture with people there. So DPH, if you can see the slide, truck is Department of Public Health truck. That's a state health truck, as I believe that's not ours, and we appreciate their help and support on this as well. We're checking those days off, and if we can still rely on this May 20th as kind of a benchmark as to what may or may not begin to be open, we're getting a lot closer, so I'm feeling good about that. They should have Wednesday crossed off. That's today, but they'll cross that off tomorrow. I always like to cross off the day we're in. It makes you feel like you made progress because you woke up today.
Well, we're not done yet.
But we're not done yet. So you can tell mayors can say what they want, but it doesn't mean things are going to change. It's just like they're not going to check off today until tomorrow, which I guess makes sense. You're not going to check off today until tomorrow. Okay, so schools, I'm not sure something else I'm going to scratch my head about. Schools and the city are closed. Not everything, but most things, until May 20th. What does that mean, Mayor? What do you mean it's closed? Well, you know what it means. It means that you can't get in the buildings. It means that all those non-essential are being on hold with interaction for the public. Now, the city council's still doing the budget, and they're doing a great job. our economic development office is coming in, our communications office, our finance department. They're all working. Public Works is out there doing a phenomenal job. Police and fire. So we have taken precautions to limit exposure for city employees and access to buildings until May 20th. But we've opened just like businesses have. And that's an edict that came down statewide, and we enforced it and reinforced it on a local level with our own edict or proclamation or emergency order. But you can see pictures that say businesses non-essential are closed. You know what that's about. You've been living with it just like I have. Let's see what else we got on slides so I can have some talking points. Okay, so this is the one that's a talker. Keep children and students engaged and encouraged, and take a moment to give yourself, not me, but yourself, a thumbs up. But it begs the question about schools closed or schools reopening or not. There's a logic to not reopening them that I kind of embrace and share. There are a number of other municipal leaders that can voice it themselves publicly who agree that the disruption, that the challenges and the protocols that you'd have to think through for the cost-benefit analysis or risk-benefit analysis weighs heavily on not reopening the schools, as uncomfortable as that is to say and difficult as it is to digest. But that's where I'm coming from on a personal kind of opinion basis. It doesn't mean I'm putting that into play, because the governor, the commissioner, in conjunction with superintendents, and I'm sure local input will make those decisions. But it seems like kind of where we are on this. And people who are tipping the scales in that favor is to compliment what parents and teachers and students have been able to do, even in this difficult environment of distant or remote learning. This is an example of, is that a penguin? It's, if you can't see the picture, it's Classic Studies Magnet Academy Student Art, and it's a penguin. It's not a panda, not a panda bear, right? It's not a seal, kind of some animals we talked about yesterday. It's a penguin. So I tip our hat to a special shout out to art teacher Wendy Palmieri. Thank you, and thank the student who did this. So I talked about planning to reopen. We have not announced a formal kind of ad hoc committee. We do have regular discussions about reopening city government offices, and we are getting input. We have begun to reopen some of these. The tax collector's office is open Tuesdays. That was yesterday. By appointment only, 203-576-7271, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and you got to wear your gloves and your mask. The zoning department, by appointment only, 203-576-7217. 7217. That's Thursday. That'll be tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the zoning office. Guess what? If you can't see it on the slide down the bottom, they all say it. Must wear gloves, and masks, facial covering. Engineering department, appointment only, 203-576. This was a little different, 7211. That's Thursday as well from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Again, protocols for masks and facial cover. License and permits department. If you need a license or a permit, not your driver's license, that's DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. That is a state office. We don't control that. They open or close that at the governor's call. 203-576-7790 for licenses and permits for the city of Bridgeport. Guess when that opens? Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I don't have to tell you what you have to wear. You know it. Gloves and facial cover. Town clerk, thank the town clerk. Recording land records only by appointment, 203-576-7208, 203-576-7208. They've got expanded Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Same protocol for masks and gloves. All of this, well, we have this slide in there to remind ourselves that this is not as difficult as this ride is, even though we didn't sign up for this, it's not a free ride. It's costing all of us, some dramatically, some with jobs, some with health, most dramatically, some with their lives. It's costing the city of Bridgeport millions of dollars as well. We have not sorted through the overall costs. I see the city of Hartford projects a $5 million additional budget deficit for next year because of coronavirus. I could expect ours is about the same. And we've talked about numbers from $5 to $10 million that we have to figure out on the city side. We do need the partnership with the state on this to support us as a major municipality. 150,000 plus, I say 170, but calculated in the last census, 150,000 people of great need, as do other cities and towns. We need that help, and we need that help from the federal government as well. In many ways, for us, that's what they're there for. That's their primary responsibility. Since we're on the front lines on a local level, providing the support to people of greatest need, they need to be there during these times for us. We appreciate the support and the partnership. Just want to let you know that it's not getting any easier financially with all the burdens that are popping up with the loss of revenue, the delay in tax collections, and the additional burdens on services for people and their needs. If you need more information about what the city can do and is doing on a real-time basis, connect to the city offices. They're available and providing services by appointment. And check online, bridgeportct.gov/directory is our source for information up to the minute, as we like to say, because our communication staff never sleeps. They're up all night and all day taking on the responsibility of trying to communicate what our departments are doing under difficult circumstances. Shout out to all of them. Putting up glass partitions as we look towards reopening. So we're not waiting. We're looking towards what we need to do. Glass partitions are being installed in City Hall. Shout out, thanks to the mechanics on the front line, along with our other frontline workers, for keeping the city of Bridgeport equipment going and for putting us in position to reopen. One of the things that we need to do is patch work, sealing city streets. They took the word crack out of there. You notice that? Because there's too many wisecracks. And that began yesterday. Oh, crack sealing continues today. And public facilities goals to be in a position to preserve our pavement for the longest periods of time at the lowest cost. So we must crack seal. You don't want to say seal cracks? Crack seal. Okay. Approximately 75% of the crack seals of the cracks in asphalt pavement forms into potholes. And we hate potholes. We have a pothole killer. I want to show a picture of pothole killer tomorrow and how it works. We have a pothole killer. Works even through a pandemic. And they stay good for 3 years. We're picking up your leaves. Your brown bags that contain your leaves will be picked up as well on your recycling day. But look at this picture of us picking up your leaves, of the city doing what we're supposed to do, which we enjoy doing. Okay, so all those are superheroes. All of our frontline workers are, in my view, superheroes, literally rescuing their lives. They are true heroes. We're going to make a little joke about this being Hero Day. Don't take it the wrong way. It is only meant to compliment our real true heroes, but we got a couple lighthearted things here. This guy's a real superhero, no question. This next one is a wannabe superhero. Can't get out of his own way, didn't trip on the rocks, doesn't have much muscles there, but wants to be a superhero in his own mind. Funny looking guy. And this is another, I don't know which is better, the seagull or the guy you saw before that, who will go nameless. If you can guess who it is, let me know. We all know who the real Superman is, and real superheroes out there. Thank you to our frontline workers, our first responders, and to all those that are helping us communicate this message. WICC 600, Radio Cumbre, 1450 AM. Muchas gracias again. This town is a town hall because you is being heard around the world. That's what it says. As far as the ear can hear. Thanks so much. But thank you for sticking with us. We're getting through this, checking off those days on the calendar. Stay safe in this together. Thanks again. Hi, this is Mayor Joe Ganim with a safety tip on auto thefts. We've had more than just an uptick in auto thefts in Bridgeport, as have other communities. We need your help. Please, don't leave your fob in the car. Your car's not safe with it in there. Don't leave your windows down. Don't leave your car unlocked. And God forbid, please don't leave a child unattended in the car. Help us put the brakes on auto thefts. We're in this together. Thanks so much.